Good morning. Welcome to Undisputed. I'm Jenny Taft. Happy Friday, guys. I'm with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. How we doing?
Ooh, good. Skip, how you doing today?
Oh, I'm always doing better than you're doing. Yeah. Thank you.
Today is the anniversary of one of the most iconic speeches ever given, the I Have a Dream speech.
Is it really?
Happened 57 years ago today.
1963.
And which led to the Civil Rights Act. Civil rights in 1964. Okay. So those that say protesting doesn't work, it does.
I think I heard that from Bruce Arians yesterday, and I did not agree.
Exactly.
Thank you for the reminder there, Shannon. Guys, it has been a busy couple days in the NBA. Let's catch up on everything that took place yesterday. After the remainder of the NBA season was nearly lost to protest, players agreed it was in their best interest to finish out the playoffs. The league released a statement saying, quote, "We are hopeful to resume games either Friday or Saturday." LeBron also changed his tune from pushing to cancel the season Wednesday night to yesterday siding with the majority of the players who wanted to play. Shannon, what do you make of LeBron's change of heart here?
I believe LeBron James always wanted to play, but I believe LeBron James wanted to exert the maximum amount of leverage. He wanted to exert being LeBron James because he's tired of symbols. He's tired of slogans. He's tired of hashtags. He doesn't feel that the people that are in power, that has more power than him, that has the contacts, the reach, the outreach, are doing nearly enough. And they think by putting Black Lives Matter on a court or putting Black Lives Matter or say her name and all those things while not reaching out to the DAs, while not talking to the mayors, while not talking to the Congress people in their community and that they can reach and have contact to, that's going to go directly to changing these police policies, they're not doing enough. So LeBron James says the one thing that I can do to exert my pressure on you is to take my talents. And maybe Kawhi and Doc Rivers, if we take our threaten to take what you want away, well, maybe you'll act right. And I believe that's what LeBron, I skip because he's put too much time in this. LeBron knows he's closer to the end than the beginning. And when you realize that, Skip, you look at things totally different. The things that you thought about doing in your 20s, you don't think about doing it, especially when you're talking about a career. It's not like a doctor where he's going to be doing this 30 years. He's going to be a lawyer. He can do this for 30, 40 years. That's not how sports work. If you're fortunate, you get your 10, and then you go from there. He's at 17. So we know, like to think that he's got a couple of more years, good years to go, but he doesn't have 10, 15 years. And he wants to see changes. And he's like, owners, we appreciate you giving money to the community, but what we need you to do is to reach the people that we know you can reach that can enact policy changes, that can do something with these this policing. That's what LeBron wanted to do, Skip. I don't believe LeBron for 1 second wanted to sit out after he spent a lifetime trying to get in this very position. But I also believe that he spent a lifetime once he became an adult and saw what was going on. He wanted to change it, and he felt the only way that he knew about going to change or exerting the force to get people that can actually change it was to threaten to withhold a service, and I have no problem with him doing that.
Okay, I hear everything you just said, but I saw this situation unfold a little differently than you did. Step back for a second and think about this with me. I believe that LeBron James just got George Hilled for the second time in his career. I believe that something that George Hill did this time, as he did at the free throw line back in, remember, 2018, Game 1 at Golden State? I believe that, once again, George Hill prompted LeBron to become extremely frustrated and to throw a fit, and you could argue to even pout, or at least go into a shell for a while. And let's unfold and unpack what just happened. George Hill has become the sort of emotional leader of the Bucks. He's obviously not the best player. You know who that is. And that guy is Defensive Player of the Year and looks like he's going to win the MVP. But it's the out-front spokesman for this team over the last couple, 3 weeks has become one George Hill. Am I right about that?
Correct.
So it was reported that the Bucks had a raging internal debate in their locker room leading up to that scheduled game at 4 p.m. Eastern against the Orlando Magic, who had no idea that the game was about to be boycotted, so they're out there ready to go.
Correct.
They are warmed up, ready to tip it off in 5 minutes.
Right.
Behind the scenes, LeBron James and Chris Paul had been working for an organized, unified, all-NBA boycott of, I don't know how many games, I don't even know what the plan was, but they had a plan in place that they had discussed.
Right.
And I'm assuming that George Hill, as sort of the leader of the team in the bubble, when it comes to racial justice, was somewhat aware of that plan, somewhat aware, because they wanted to go all together, have one big unified media session, led by who? The man who should have been leading it, LeBron James, who is the voice of the NBA when it comes to racial justice, who has been for, I don't know, 10 years more. That man, LeBron James, right?
Yeah.
Who is the head of the Players Association? Obviously, it's Chris Paul. Those two, I believe, had planned to have a huge media conference in which both in person in the bubble and virtually they talked to America about what their goals were, what their specific details were, that they want this, and that to happen. And they had it all planned out, and it was poised to go. And all of a sudden, something happened out of nowhere, blindsiding everybody, including the Magic and the referees and everybody involved. Every NBA executive was completely blindsided all the way to the top, to the commissioner, by what George Hill, it seemed, had sort of emotionally driven the Bucks to do. And they all admitted they were going back and forth. There was a whole lot of disagreement in the locker room. Should we, shouldn't we? Should we, shouldn't we? Very split over it. And at the last second, they finally said, okay. George Hill's point was, our hearts were not in playing basketball. It seemed irrelevant to us at this point. So they broke ranks, and they went, they preempted LeBron and Chris Paul. Boom! They decide to boycott, and it was shockwaves across the country because, as you know, it was a ripple effect throughout sports all night long. Well, it was heavily reported that LeBron James was not happy with that, and I don't think Chris Paul was happy with that either. So all of a sudden, within...
Yeah, because I think the thing is, Skip, the one thing that you want to do in a situation like this is that you want to seem like you're united.
Unified.
You want to put on a united front.
You better.
So when people start coming, there's no way they can penetrate the fortress.
I got to tell you, I did, as much as I respect George Hill, once upon a time, San Antonio Spur, I don't want to hear George Hill speak about this. I want to hear LeBron, and I want to hear Chris Paul. They've been at this for a long time.